Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often here.
Welcome to the Message Hope podcast, where the hope stands for hearing other people's experience. My name is Adam.
My name is Mike, and today on the show we have a gentleman with us that he does the deal, man. He does this thing called recovery. He's a father, and he's somebody whose recovery me and Adam both respect, and so we wanted him to come on the podcast, and he's here. Chad, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome, Chad.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
for sure. How's everything going?
Man, today in life, it's great, right? It was funny. I before we started recording, I did the serenity prayer and is accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can, right? And I was telling Mike before you got here, like, before I didn't have the courage to change the thing. I didn't know the things, I didn't have the courage to change the things that I could, right? And, like I'm trying to get my daughter back and stuff. And for years, I was like, I got to do the paperwork, you know, but I never did. And Friday, I took care of the paperwork, served my mom, did everything, right? And I was like, not happy because it's like, oh, fuck you, Mom. It was like, I'm happy that I did it. I accomplished it. It's in process. And if it lands my way or it doesn't, like, I'm still happy, and I feel like I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know,
You did your part.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like before I wasn't able to do that. I was too scatterbrained to focus long enough to sit down and do the paperwork. Ask somebody, hey, can you do this paperwork for me? And they don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. And like I sat down, I got the paperwork myself, sat down, filled it all out, and a couple mistakes, and by turn it in, it's like, it's done. I looked online, it's fucking done.
Yeah.
No further action needed, just wait for the court, and like, I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
How long you got clean now?
Dude, I'm like 4 years deep into this,
Yeah.
and fucking life has really took a turn for the best.
Yeah.
I got a baby on the way. I'm adopting my 6-year-old stepdaughter. She's my daughter. She calls me dad. My 12-year-old daughter, I pick her up for the weekends. And before, it was like pulling teeth to get her to come with me,
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, kid, I'm gonna go pick you up. I'm gonna go pick you up Saturday morning, take you, and okay, I'll be awake, Dad. She doesn't get out of bed till fucking noon on the weekends. So I'll be up at 8 o'clock and we'll leave, and she is. And then we get over here. My wife doesn't get up early, right? So Saturday we do stuff, and then when Sunday morning comes around, my wife's asleep, and I'll tell my daughter, hey, let's go have breakfast. Let's go do something. Let's go change the battery in this car, that I've been working on. And this was a couple weeks ago. Like, I told her to go with me. She's all right, Dad, let's go. And we went and got breakfast. Went and bought the battery, and like, I taught her how to use a ratchet, and I was like, man. This is great, like I didn't realize what I was missing out on. Could I have changed that battery in 30 minutes? Yeah. But I spent a couple hours there showing her, okay, let's take the wheel off. Okay, let's take the fender well out, and we got to do this and do that. And it was fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
I was so happy to be involved and her interacting, and not where I'm like, come on, kid, no, you're gonna go with me, we're gonna go do this. Now it's like, it's more natural, and she's 12, she's going on 13, right? And she's still that little girl, goofy, cute little girl, and then sometimes she's the going on 21.
Right.
But it's okay. Like, I can understand it, right? Like, today I have the patience to deal with that and be okay. Like, I don't let it her, if she gets upset, like, I'm just like, all right, cool, kid, and she'll get out of the little funk, and she'll be that goofy little girl again.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful age,
Yeah.
and it's kind of crazy how this came about, right? Like, so social services took my daughter from my mom, right? Because my mother was letting my daughter go across the street to her mom's house. I don't know if you followed that whole thing. It was kind of a trip. And her house is a fucking dope house right across the street from my mom's, and place has been raided like three times or 4 times in the last 3 years, right? So social services got involved, took my daughter, and doing supervised visits and all that, right? And I made sure that I tried to go every time. And even if I don't get if I don't get Betty back, like I still gain that relationship with her that I had been missing for so many years. And I'm happy, you know, it's good. Even if she doesn't come to live with me, because I think that's what should happen, what's best for her. If it's not what happens, it's okay. You know, it's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I understand that today, right? And because it's not my will, it's God's will. You know, sometimes I like to take the wheel sometimes, and I just fucking run it up on the curb a little bit, scrape the rims. But you know, a lot of times I try to just let go of the wheel and, you know, let it play out. Don't try to play God, because it doesn't work out. You know.
Yeah. So Chad, let's take it all the way back, bro. Tell us what it was like for you growing up.
Dude, growing up, I grew up in Santana. You know, it was I grew up when I was in elementary school, there was 3 white kids and 1 was my sister in the whole school, right? So
I understand that, bro.
you get it?
I do.
Yeah, it's yeah, you know, you get that, you know, you don't fit in, and you are the different one, right? So of course, I was the different one, and I was really big. I was like 250 pounds when I was 10, but I wanted to fit in, right?
But
So
250 pounds by the time you're 10?
yeah, I was huge.
Like tall or like fat?
I was just fat.
Yeah.
They called me Kirby, homie.
Kirby.
I looked like the pink ball.
Yeah.
I was Kirby from Evergreen Street, man. That's the street I grew up on.
I lived on the Evergreen Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and we were just some young kids. Wasn't nobody special. And but I wanted to be a part of, you know, and walk like them, talk like them, dress like them, try to be like them, you know, and smoke a little weed and whatever, right? And that was cool, right? That was whatever's. And my grandfather was, I guess, what's the terminology? Very instrumental in my life.
Yeah.
Like, he taught me a lot of things, right?
Is that who raised you?
Yes, my grandparents raised me.
Okay.
And
Where were your parents?
my mom was on the next street over, which was my grandparents were my dad's parents.
Yeah.
My grandfather was actually my dad's stepdad, but he treated me like his son, you know. And we were like thick as thieves, me and my grandfather. And but my mom lived in the next street over, and my little sister and my older sister lived over there when she was there. And but I just stayed with my grand. Finally, I remember my grandmother had the corded rotary phones
Yeah.
in the kitchen. You had to fucking takes you 10 minutes to fucking dial one number, you know, and 100-foot cord so you could talk all the way across the house. I remember standing in the kitchen with the rotary phone and call my mom's house, and I said, "Mom, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here with Papa," you know, and that was it. That's when I just stayed there. And
How old were you then?
dude, I was like 6 or 7 probably.
And you decided at that point.
That I wanted to stay with my grandparents, right? Because I guess I blocked it out a lot when I was, you know, younger. But since all this stuff happened with social services and all that, like I'm reading all the action from when I was a kid, because they dig deep, right? And like my mom was abusive. I remember, and I'm jumping forward a little bit here. I remember one time my mom tried to whip me, and I said, "Not today," and I fucking threw her over the couch, you know, and I was still a little kid, and I just didn't like getting hit, you know. My grandfather, on the other hand, he was a Marine, right? And he wouldn't hit you with his hands, but he'd fucking whip you with that tongue this way, that way, fucking all kinds of cuss words, right? And he'd fucking get angry, but he never hit you, you know. And in my opinion, my grandfather was the greatest man to ever walk this earth. You know, he taught me a lot. And I think that is where, when he passed away, right, that's when my addiction took off. Because I wasn't okay. I was like, obviously I was using, right? I was using before because my grandfather was coming to see me in juvenile hall, and all of a sudden he used to come every weekend, right? And all of a sudden he stopped showing up. And I would try to tell the counselors. I was at YGC in Orange County, Youth Guidance Center, right? I was doing 9 months for weed and dirty tests or something, not going to school. And I asked the counselor, can I use the phone, right? Can I use the phone and call my grandfather? And they would say, no, no. And they before they would, like if I behaved, they'd let me use the phone, right? So I'd fucking be behaving. I'm like, man, why can't I use the phone? And then I finally got called. I got called to the office, and they said, oh, you're going on a furlough. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going on a furlough, And they're like, you better calm down. We'll take that furlough away. And I find out a few minutes after that my grandfather was dying in the hospital, and I was going to go see him.
Oh, that was the furlough.
That was the furlough for me to go see him, and he didn't pass away that night, so they let me go the next day, and I went again, and then that night he was gone, and that shit killed me because then I was just with my mom, and I was like, there was no really mom there. I just did whatever I wanted, and I didn't go to school, and I'd go run around with the dudes. And smoke weed, and then the fucking crystal meth hit, and it's like, oh yeah, we're partying now, And I still remember the first time I did methamphetamine, right? I took a couple hits at the older dude's house around the way, right? And I went and jacked some dude for his Sony Walkman, and took it back to the dude. Let me get some more of that, right? That's so I had to be an addict off the bat because I took a hit, got the shit, went back, and it was crazy, bro. Like,
How old were you then?
I was probably 13, 14. I was 13, 14, yeah. I think I went in and out of juvenile hall like 8 times between 12 and 18. Like 3.5 years, 4 years, between 12 and 18, I was inside juvenile hall.
Did you ever have a relationship with your father in your childhood?
You know what? No. I can remember my dad. My real dad was a plumber, right? And so, my grandma. This was my grandmother's son. Was my dad, right? And he'd come over and fix the plumbing. He rode Harleys, right? And I remember him showing up, and my grandma would say, "You're not going to say hi to your son?" And he'd say hi to me, whatever, right? And he came on his Harley. And when he left, I told him, "Dad, can you take me for a ride on the Harley?" "Yeah, you got a helmet?" So I run off and go grab my bicycle helmet. I'm a kid. I don't know no better. "No, you don't have the right helmet, right?" And so he never took me for a ride. And this is when I was really young. And trip this though, right? Like I remember that, and I shared this with my 12-year-old, and I bought my 12-year-old her own helmet, and I told her the story, and I said, "You always have a helmet to ride with Dad," and she's 12, right? But she knows she's pretty hip to the skip for being 12, and like she understood that it was it was really deep for me to give her that and share that with her, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, Dad. I love you." And and dude, I didn't know what that felt like for so many years.
Yeah.
Because when she was born, I went in and out of juvenile hall, and then I turned 18, and I got off probation, and then I got caught up and went to prison. Like within the year, I was doing 3 years in prison, right? And behind meth and all that, and I got out, got married to a lady in Texas, right? And then I was trying to do all the paperwork to go to Texas, and then my ex from before I went to prison, my daughter's mom, got a hold of me, and obviously we know what happened. So then she got pregnant, we had our daughter, and then we got married and got divorced right away. Well, I got divorced the first one, married her, and then before my daughter was 1, we got divorced, and she's still crazy. Obviously, right? And so it's been but I was clean when I got out of prison. I was clean. like from 2011 until like 2017, end of 2017, like I was clean. I had my own trucking company. I was moving cars, Nevada, Arizona, all of California. You know, doing it, man. 3 drivers, 4 trucks, you know, like, I don't say it to show off, right? But like I had a different truck for every day of the week and a different bike for every day of the weekend. You know, like I had stuff, but I never bought a house. You know, I kick myself in the ass now, but like,
How'd you get into that driving trucks?
dude, a guy moved in next door to my mom's, and where we were living in Garden Grove, right? And that's what he did. Older Egyptian dude named Tarek. And he took me. He's like, man, can you come drive a car for me? He was pulling cars out of the CarMax in Duarte. Yeah, I'll go help you, Holmes. You know, let's go. And I see him loading these cars on a trailer, and we're taking them to somewhere on Firestone or somewhere, and I forgot what the name of the city was, but it's over there, like around Paramount area, and I see him dropping the cars and how he does it all right, and I'm like, man, how do I do this? If you can do this, why can't I do this, right? And so I told him, you know, what do I need to do this? He's like, here, you got to call this guy, you know, get a trailer. You need this long, da-da-da-da. You're going to go find this, you know, a truck this year under this many miles. I didn't know nothing about diesel trucks.
Hot shot, or was it?
Yeah, hot shot.
Okay.
I would use I started with an 06 Silverado 4-door short bed and a 32-foot flatbed trailer. And it was on and running. You know, it was good. I bought my second truck, like my first 6 months in business, and then you know I bought another truck, and then so I got really big. Like living in a truck, I got up to like 450 pounds, right? And my buddy got the gastric bypass, and he told me the ins and outs on how to manipulate it to get the surgery real quick, right? So from my first doctor visit to the table was like 6 months, and usually it takes like fucking 8 months to a year to get it, and I did it in 6 months, you know. And so like I was drinking, but I wasn't using, right? I was like a kind of like a normie, so to say, right?
Yeah.
But I had the gastric, and then I was drinking, right? And then I got skinny.
And no recovery.
No,
meetings
okay.
At this point, or
so
what?
when I was younger at YGC, like it's the Youth Guidance Center, so they push you to go to meetings and everything when you get out of there. So I was introduced to CMA, NA, AA, all that, right? And but I was too young. I was like 14 years old. It went in one ear and out the other, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to be hip, slick, and cool still, so nothing stuck, you know.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad I did. We'll get to it, right? So I was introduced to recovery when I was 14, and so I got skinny, right? And I was drinking, and then I got this bright idea. Let me go buy a motorcycle, right? Let me go buy a motorcycle, and then you know, of course, you start hanging out with the motorcycle club, and then you know they like to play with their nose. So I said, let me check it out, because I got to sober up a little bit to ride home. And then I finally said, what the fuck, this Coke? Where the fuck's the dope at? You know? So I went and found dope, and it was on and running from there, bro. It was like the end of 2017, and I'm all over the internet chasing women, and like I'm living with my girlfriend. Like we're engaged, and like I'm in the garage. Like the garage has a lock on the inside and the outside, so she could lock so I don't go in the fucking house, because I was just fucking high, you know, keep people out, keep the family out from going outside. And I was running, chasing women, just being a fucking dirtbag, and that went south into domestic violence, jail. Moved to another woman's house in Morongo Valley, right? And I just went from one garage to another, right? Like out there in the desert, and I moved all my trucks. So I had all my doodads and my tools, and I was just fucking high. Wasn't working anymore. I was just high and working on my toys, playing with my toys, thinking I was doing something.
Yeah.
And I was just destroying everything. You know, I left my daughter, I left my Betty, with my mom. When the domestic violence stuff happened, I told my mom to come get Betty, and she was like 7 or 8, and which was, I thought, was the best thing at the time, right? Because I was already going down. I knew that the boat was sinking. So here, let me put her in the life raft over there, so I can continue sinking this boat, because I was still floating by, a couple hairs. So I was like, let me burn this fucker to the ground, and I did for the next. That was like 2018, right? And I didn't get clean until 2021, right? So I went from Vanessa's house in Santa Ana. I went to Morongo Valley, to Bree's house, and I stayed there for a year, and domestic violence in Santa Ana. Then I had domestic violence over there, right? So domestic violence is, when you're on drugs, it's fucking easily to obtain a domestic violence charge.
Yeah.
Is it even really love if there's no domestic violence?
Yeah, it's like if you're not fucking poop patting each other, like, it's not really happening,
They were fair ones, though. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. She fought back, That's why I don't like skinny chicks. I don't, if they can't fight back, I'm not down. So all this time, my daughter's with my mom, right? And like, I was like, I didn't call. I'd show up. I'd go there on Christmas, but I'd leave like Christmas Eve, like in the middle of the night, and I don't know, make my tweaker way from Morongo Valley to Santa Ana, and I'd show up like at 6, 7 in the morning, oh, what's up, kid? Happy Merry Christmas, and all fucking strung out. And I see the pictures now, and it's like, man, what the fuck was I doing?
It's crazy looking at those pictures.
Oh, dude, I'm not the most good looking dude, but I look fucking wigged out, man. Just like skinny, and I don't know. I don't look like I belong skinny. I don't look. I just don't look right. I look like a damn skeleton, right? Like a damn alien or something. And it's sometimes, right? Like I'll be sitting at home, because the wife and I have one of those now. We have a home, right? And like, I'll be sitting there on the chair, watching the nice TV, right? And the kid will be, doing something, saying she's hungry, she wants chicken nuggets, and the wife will be doing something, and I'll be there in thought, thinking, how the fuck did I get here, right? How did I get into a healthy relationship? How did I get married? How are we having another baby, right? Like, how do we have a successful business? How did my life go from being, as I like to say, doped out, homeless, and unemployed, to where we are today? Oh, that sounded cute out there. Must be fireworks. But it's like mind blowing, right? Like, without Narcotics Anonymous, and without my sponsor, right, Louis, from when I was a kid. That's why I said it was important, right? When I said I was introduced, I had a sponsor named Louis.
When you were 14?
When I was 14, I had a sponsor, right? And I still remember his number. Even all the few years smoking dope, but I still remembered his number. So I called him, because Vanessa kicked me out. I went to Morongo. Bree ended up kicking me out, restraining order. So I ended up back at my mom's house in her garage. And I said, well, as long as there's a garage and a place for me to take a shower, like, I'm cool. I can just fucking stay high, right? Until finally she kicked me out, and I really was in front of the 7-Eleven 100 yards from her front door, right? And asking the neighbors that I've known for years, right? Hey, man, can you buy me a beer, right? From going from where I was to that, like, fuck, man. Yeah. It was rough, right? And I lost my train of thought. So anyway, I'm homeless in front of the 7-Eleven. It took like a week for me to figure out, fuck, what am I gonna do?
Just roaming around for a week.
Yeah, like a week, like in the 7-Eleven parking lot. I had my truck parked over there, and I was riding around on a stolen Harley Davidson and fucking thinking I was doing big things and just wigged out, right? Like everybody that walked up to me, it's like, hey, Holmes, is it going to be all right or what? Like I'm talking to them like they know what the fuck's going on. Like they're in on it. They're all in on it, Holmes. This is fucking, I was wigged out, bro. And,
Like,
yeah, I was
are we good, dude? Like,
no, you guys are in on it too, huh? It's been a setup forever, right? But that's what it took, right? Like my mom finally kicked me out, and I called Louis. I said, man, I need help. You know, can you help me out? You know, what do I need to do? He said, well, let me pick you up. We'll go to a meeting, right? Well, let's go to a meeting. And he gave me a number to call, and I called, and I got a bed. And the next day, I went out on job search and drank beer, right? So they kicked me out. So I went back to the street for a few days until the next week when I could get another bed in that place. And I'd love to say I've been clean since I got that bed, right? It was 1/22/21 was the when I went back. That next week, it was 1/22/21. I thought it was cool because it was the same forwards and backwards, right?
yeah.
And I'd like to say I've been clean since then, but it'd be a lie, right? Like my clean date is February 14th, 2021, right? And I say Valentine's Day because that's the day I learned to love myself again, right? Because I didn't give a fuck about myself. Smoking dope out of anybody's old dirty pipe, you know, like whatever, you know, anything to get another head change, right?
Yeah.
And so I called Louis. He got me into a bed, got me the number. I fucked the first one off. Went back the second time, and I was like, all right, cool. Got me a gig swinging hammers, right? Like I don't do construction. I turn bolts, right? I enjoy working on stuff, but swinging hammers is not my business, you know. So I got a job doing that, and of course, there was still a few women that I was chasing, right? And so I decided to. It was February 13th, right? So I had already been in the sober living, clean, working, paying my bills, right? And so I'm gonna ride the Harley out to Palm Springs where this lady lived. And I was like, okay, let's go to a meeting, right? And we went to the noon AA meeting in Palm Springs. And from there, we go to the Blaze Pizza, and they got the 805 on tap. I can have one beer. You know how it goes. You guys know
Right
that.
after the AA meeting?
Right after the AA meeting, I could have one beer. You know, it'll be fine. I like dope. I don't like beer. And you know what? Trip this, right? Went to the meeting, have the food, drank beer, got a 3-pack of tall cans. Right after that beer, went and got a 3-pack of tall cans. She was in her car. Got closer to her house. No, let's go to the store. Let me get a 30-pack of Rolling Rock because it's cheap, and went back to her house and just fucking drinking beer.
Both of you guys?
She was drinking, but she didn't party, right? She would drink, but she was like a normal woman, older woman, right? And so we're there drinking and carrying on, and I have this wild fucking thought in my head because Morongo Valley's only like a fucking little skip up the hill right there, and I know Homeboy's there right now. I tell you, he's right there right now with dope on his fucking table. I had this wild thought, drunk, right? Let me get on my Harley. Let me ride over here and get some dope. This is February 13th, right? 2021. And, but I already know how quick they'll fucking kick you out of the sober living. So I fucking had that wild thought, and I said, no. I was fucking coherent enough to know that if I do that, I fucked it off. I'm not going to have a place to live again, right? And so I didn't. I just drank, and I went to sleep, and I rode my Harley back, and I didn't say nothing about the beer. Right? Until in Orange County at the 202 Club, right? And most most Orange County meetings, everybody goes around the room and everybody introduces themselves, right? And the newcomers introduce themselves first, right? Well, obviously I was over here talking to, I don't know, remember who, but you know, we're bullshitting whatever. And the person next to me identifies, and I said, "Oh yeah, Chad, tweaking alcoholic, right?" Because I had to be different when I first got. I had to be different. I'm a tweaking alcoholic, and so I raised my hand on tweaking alcoholic after the person next to me, because I think we're just going around the room, and they said, "Oh, welcome to the newcomers." And I said, I looked up at the sky and I said, "What the fuck?" You know?
Oh, you didn't know you were identifying?
I didn't know I was identifying as a newcomer, but I was covering up that relapse.
Yeah.
So, you know, 122-21 was supposed to be, but I drank on the 13th of February, right? And, but I was hiding that shit. I had that shit deep in my pocket, homie. It was like underneath everything. Like, I didn't say shit to nobody. And I understand now that was homie upstairs doing for me what I couldn't do for myself, right? Like, he lifted that burden up off me where I didn't have to lie and you know, play cool, you know? And I remember in the meeting, it's the outside meeting in the backyard of the 202 Club. I'm sitting there and I identify and I look up, like, I fucking laugh, like, I see, bro. I understand. I get it now, you know? Yeah. And I think it's a great thing, right? Because in my addiction, I think in everybody's addiction, right? Lying was second nature. Like, if I wasn't lying to you about it, like, if there's no point in talking to you. Like, if I'm not lying about something, trying to weasel something, or either weasel into something or weasel something out of somebody, you know? And that was a funny joke. But you know, and honesty, right? Like, being honest fucking clears up so many issues in life. Like, I don't fight with my wife. I teach my daughter, you know, honesty. I tell my daughter, my 12-year-old, right? I tell her, as long as you tell me the truth, we can clean it up. I don't care what it is. We'll clean it up as long as you tell me the truth. But if you lie to me, then you're in trouble, you know? And she does pretty good about that. So, you know, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
And so my clean date's February 14, 2021. And I stayed in sober living for like 18 months, bro. So I was in Fullerton, right? And I was doing construction, and I was right, dude. I was like one of the fucking who are those guys? The YMCA guys? What are those dudes' names?
I don't know.
You know, do you know the dude?
The band?
The YMCA, the Village People. What is it? The Village People or something? Yeah. You know, the dude's wearing the fucking. I don't know if those dudes are straight or what, but he's wearing the damn tool belt. So can you imagine? You imagine me? I'm only like a fucking few weeks clean, homes, wearing a tool belt, riding a Harley, fucking 6 a.m. to get to Irvine, right? To swing a hammer to pay for sober living, right? So, but that's what I did, right? Like, I had to pay for sober living, so that's the only wheels I had was the Harley, and
stolen Harley, right?
Yeah. So the license plate on the Harley was off my 2019 Hayabusa, right? Because remember, I don't know if I've said it on here, but like before I had a lot of toys, right? So I still had the license plate from my 2019 Hayabusa, and the frame was clean on the Harley, right? I switched the frame, but all the parts, I changed the frame and the engine case, but everything was on it was fucking hot, you know? And I thought it was cool. The plate's good, you know? It ain't for this bike, but I was like, you know, whatever. And so I'm clean. I'm riding to work, and in Irvine, and I high side the fucking bike. It's like 6 a.m. I'm trying to get to work, and I double tap the shifter down, exiting the freeway, and I let go of the clutch, and it locks up the rear wheel and fucking throws me. And I wake up. I don't know if I got knocked out or what, or if the cop was behind me, but the cop pulls up behind me, helps me pick the bike up, push it to the side of the road, and I'm like, fuck. So I pull out my wallet, and I pull out my AAA card, and I say, well, can you call AAA for me? And he's okay, yeah. He's like, you don't need me to write a report or anything? Are you okay? I said, yeah, man, I'm fine. I have the AAA, drop me off at work and take the bike to Harley, and I was fucked up. I went to work, right, and I couldn't even pick up the material. So I told the work, I was there for like an hour or so, and I was like, man, I gotta go home. So I called my mom, come get me. Let's go get an X-ray, and check this out, right? This is how I know. This is how I know everything went the way it was supposed to do. It went the way it was supposed to, right? Like, and I know there's a higher power out there that was looking out for me. So the stolen Harley's gone, right? Like I wrecked it. It's like I don't have money to fix it. Nothing I can do, right? And I no longer have transportation to the job I was at in Irvine doing construction. We were building some hospital, right? And so my mom picks me up. And my phone, mind you this, my phone, I'm still early in recovery, right? So my phone only works if I'm connected to the internet.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, right? And so my mom picks me up and I tell her, I'm hungry. So she takes me back to her house and I get something to eat and my phone connects to the internet and it's like bring, bring, right? Like this he's my buddy now. But Pep messaged me and it was to be the yard supervisor of an auction in Buena Park, right? And it was literally like 4 lights from my sober living home where I was staying, right? And I just lost my transportation because I wrecked the Harley, so I couldn't go to that job anymore. And so I went to my mom took me to I messaged him. He said come on in for an interview. So I went and got X-rays done at the hospital because I was that shit wasn't cool. It hurt, man. And they said nothing was broken. I was all right. So I went to the interview, and dude gave me the job. And I said, well, give me a week. I just wrecked my Harley this morning. Give me a week, and I'll be over here. And I left the Harley the Harley was at L.A. Harley Davidson in Fullerton, which was like right down the street from my sober living too, right? And of course, I was already been at the Harley dealer eyeballing the new bikes, of course, but I couldn't afford it, right? So I get the job at the auction, and I'm still friends with Pep today. He's actually a really good guy, really nice guy. And so I get the job, and then I get a hold of a towing company. Let's take my Harley to see what they'll charge me to fix it, right? Because to get it fixed at Harley Davidson is going to be fucking $1 million. So the tow truck drags me. We go to some place that had a lot of red stuff on the walls, right? And my bike's painted lime green, right? So they're like, no affiliation, right? Like I just like the color green. So, and they're like, oh, maybe you got to take it to this place over here in Temecula, right? And it's funny how the red place sent me to the green place. And then it was like, yeah, it was going to be too much money. So the guy in the tow truck, we never even unloaded the bike. We stayed on the truck. But I was talking to him. No, go over here, talk to the guy. And it's like, oh, it's not going to happen. So we took it back to Harley. And I sit down with the dudes at Harley. And they said, we'll give you $6,000 for your bike and $100 out of my pocket. And I got a brand new bike, right? And I say that because in the beginning of recovery, right? Like it was the shiny shit that kept me here. It wasn't the relationship. It wasn't, oh, my kid's talking to me. It wasn't, oh, life is better. It was like, all I have in life is this Harley Davidson, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna lose it, right? Like I felt like I lost it all, and all I have is this bike, and I cannot lose it, right? So I made sure I stayed clean, right? Like the relapse happened on the fucking stolen bike. So now I have the new one, and so that was like all of the negative old shit, like going away. The old bike's gone, and that became the dealership's problem to figure out the whole title issue and all that, right? I mean, they took it on trade, right? Because I said the VIN number was good.
It.
Yeah. It had the 26-inch big wheel in the front, airbags, air ride suspension front and back. It was pretty cool for a tweaker. It was great, you know. So I traded in for the new one, and I was like, that was really the reason why I stayed clean in the beginning, just because I was like, I'm not gonna lose this bike, right? And the girl from Morongo came back for a minute, right? Like we started talking, and then I stayed at that auction down the street from my sober living for a little while. I don't know, a few months. And then I was like, well, I need more money. I wanted more money, right? And the auction's a great place, but they don't want to pay more money, right? So Pep ended up, you know, in so many words, you know, go ahead, take off. So I was already talking back with Bree, and I talked to her, and we were like dating again, kind of. And so I was like, okay, well, I got a job interview at Coin Power Sports in Banning, right? And working on motorcycles. And but I was living in sober living here, so I moved out of the sober living. I moved into her house, right? I said, well, let me get situated with a job. And then she had said, well, you got to look back into getting the sober living, and getting back into sober living. And I was like, okay, right? So before I'm like, leave? What do you mean leave? Like, I'm gonna fucking stay here, right? Yeah. Like addict thinking. And now I'm clean, right? And I was like, she's all get, she had just mentioned sober living. So I took it upon myself. Like, I stayed there for a week, and then I got into a sober living. And then when I called her to tell her, like, she got all butthurt. And it was like, well, didn't you tell me to get into sober living? So I did. I got into sober living right here in Redlands. And I stayed at that job for a few years. And I stayed in the sober living. Between all the sober livings, I was there like 18 months. Because I was in sober living, and I didn't listen to the suggestions, right? Like, don't get into a relationship for the first year and all that, right? Like, so I was still under a year, and I was talking to this lady, and I find out later that she was married, and I told her, hey, look, you got to either, I can't do that. You got to leave the dude, or, we can't do this dance. So she decides, okay, I'm going to leave the dude. So she moves out. They were living together, so she moves out, goes back to her mom's house. Dude doesn't like that, so he goes to her work, flattens the tires, right? And I'm like, fuck, okay. I get off work in Banning, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go help you fix the tires. And dude hits me with the car, right? I fucking flew like 30 feet in the air, broke my leg, fucked my neck off. Like, I couldn't walk for like 8 months. 6 months, 8 months. And there was two things that I said when I woke up in the hospital, right? Because obviously I'm in recovery, right? Like, it was two things I said when I woke up in the hospital. I didn't know why I was there. I said, did it happen on my Harley? And they said, no, it's at your house in the garage. I said, okay, I'm fine then. And I laugh, right? And then the second thing I tell the doctors is, I'm an active member of Narcotics Anonymous. Don't give me any hard drugs. And but that right there says a lot, that I don't want any hard drugs. I don't even want fucking nothing to do with it, because it'll take me right back to having nothing and being nobody.
It'll take my Harley away.
It'll take my Harley away, bro. I'll be damned, home. It's like, right. Like, that was a big thing, right? Like, I was on disability, and like, it was either pay for the Harley or pay for sober living. That was how the disability was. Like, it was enough to pay for one or pay for both and have like a fucking few pennies in the pocket, And I still have the Harley today, so we're doing all right. I'm still clean.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I don't talk to that woman anymore either. But I'll tell you today, right? Like, in the beginning, the shiny shit is why I stayed clean, right? And today, it's still shiny shit, but it's evolved into people and relationships and friends and kids and wife and, just my family, right? Like me and my brother-in-laws are close. Me and my oldest brother-in-law, like we do a little business together, and we're really close, and it's nice, man. It's nice to have people that I can call if I need help or I need something, and it's not like they have to, like, say, man, let me hold a couple dollars, right? It's not like, oh man, when are you gonna pay me back? So, here you go, and I make sure, here, this money back. As soon as it comes back to me, here you go, whatever.
I trip on that.
Yeah.
Because me and Adam are like sending money back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, but it's nice, right? Like, the money's going to come back, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not like before.
And if
It's
it does,
like,
I'll break his leg,
Get,
you
oh, dude, I know where to dig some holes at, man. I help you out. Right, but like today, like we're trusted. Today in recovery, we're trusted, right? Like I trust my life in my wife's hands every day, right? She cooks food, she does all that. Like you know, she might not like me one day, and fuck, I might not wake up. I'm just playing. But you know, like I met my wife in this program, right? Like I remember, right? Like I seen her, and I you know, I talked to her a little bit, and she tells me today that I was annoying. And because I had a loud ass radio on my Harley, and I was like hip, slick, and cool. At least I thought I was, you know. And I'm still the same today. I just don't have a big head. And she said I was annoying, right? We started talking finally, and my leg obviously healed, and I got back to normal, semi-normal, and then we started, you know, talking, and then we started dating, and then it was 6/13/22. We started dating, and since that day, we've only been apart like 3 days. Since then, you know, and one of those I had to be in Orange County to do something, so I spent the night at my mom's house, and I think another one was she went to the zoo with her family, and I stayed at her house. I had my own apartment, but I stayed at her house, and she was gone, and she came back the next day or something like that. I don't remember, but I call it, you know, I call it the Cadillac of relationships, you know, because me and my wife, we talk about everything, right? Like we make it a point, if there's an issue, we make it a point to talk through it, right? Because that's what they teach us in NA, is to talk about things, right? Because pain shared is pain lessened. And it's funny how everybody thinks, oh, an NA meeting, that's just to get clean, right? Like it's pretty easy to do Narcotics Anonymous. You only got to change one thing, and that's everything. You know, it's really not easy, but it sounds good. So
Simple, not easy.
yeah, it's simple. Just change everything. You know, one thing, everything. And I almost lost my train of thought again. I bumped my head pretty good when I get hit by the car. Yeah, I call it the Cadillac of relationships because we talk about everything. We do a lot of things together. We're both very supportive of whatever we got to do, right? And we do a lot of stuff with family, you know. And it's now that like I'm adopting Harper, and like that's a big thing, right? Like, cause when I was smoked out, right? Like my grandfather left me a mobile home, right? And it was like an $80,000 mobile home in the day, and I went to prison, and my daughter's mom's dad, so my daughter's grandfather, came and had me sign some paperwork, and the fucking dude sold it while I was in prison, right? And never gave me the money, right? So I'm all tweaked out, and I finally figured out, right? Years later, I figured out, and I'm trying to sue him, but I'm too fucking wigged out to do the paperwork, right? And I forgot where I was going.
The trailer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he sold it. He sold it while I was in prison and never said anything about it after I got out, right? And so I was trying to do the paperwork to sue him, and I got it filed and everything, but I never followed up with it, right? So it just fell flat on its ass because I was too fucking high, because it wasn't that important.
Yeah.
You know, my dope was more important. I remember being in Vanessa's garage. My truck's parked out on the street in front of the house, right? And wasn't supposed to be there, but I didn't give a fuck. What's a parking ticket? You know, I was making big money then. I was big-headed. And I don't give a fuck about the parking ticket. I'll pay it. You know, come back in 2 weeks and give me another one. You know, it's cheaper than truck parking. And so my truck's parked in front of the house, and it's loaded with classic Corvettes that need to go to Bakersfield, right? Like, they're already sold. I was dropping them off to the guy's customers over there, and I was so fucking high. Like, this is when I knew, this is the moment I knew that my business no longer mattered. Transporting cars no longer mattered. mattered because the cars are out there on the truck, ready to go, loaded, strapped. Like all I got to do is jump in the truck and go. But I was too busy getting high in the garage, and I didn't want to go. I was cool. I was like, I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna stay in the garage and continue getting high. And that's when it started going downhill. That's when life really, it just turned about drugs. Fuck trucking. Fuck making money. Let me just get high and destroy it all. And I did. It took me like a year and a half, and I just destroyed everything and everybody around me. And today, like I'm still mending those relationships, right? Like the last 6 months, I've been actually building a relationship with my 12-year-old where, I don't know if we got to that part. Did we get to that part on the air yet? No? Where, like, she actually wants to go places with me. She wants to hang out with me, right? And before it wasn't like that. Like, my mom would have to, like, almost force her to go to my house, you know?
Yeah.
And after going through the supervised visits and everything and doing the parenting classes and knowing that my daughter was worth it, like I would drive an hour and a half from here to Orange County, sit in an office, well, not an office, like a
visitation place.
Yeah, like they had a kitchen and toys and games and stuff. And I would sit there for 4 hours with her and then come back another hour and a half. But I was happy to have that. And I made sure I went every time, right? Yeah. And I attempted to see my daughter every time. And I wanted more time, and I wanted unsupervised. And I'm thankful that I did all that, right? Like I'm thankful in recovery that I learned patience, and you know, it's his will, not my will, because if it was my will, I would have just fucking went off my rocker and did some dumb shit, and I wouldn't be here, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I would have been upset and acted out on my anger. And today we know better, right? Like today we know better that we don't do stuff like that because nothing good comes of it. So I put in the time, I put in the effort, right? And now like my daughter wants to hang out with me. Like she answers the phone when I call her, you know. She shares the location with me, you know, again. And I like hanging out with my daughter, right? Like I didn't realize what I was missing. I probably said that already, but
yeah,
it was important.
I've gotten to the point with my daughters that they're not even really excited to see me anymore. But like, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
you know,
it's normal.
Like it used to be, I'd show up on the holidays, and for years.
Yeah.
Show up on the holidays or show up when it was convenient for me, right?
Yeah.
And then they'd be excited to see me every time. And that made me feel good in a weird, twisted way, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's like they see me so much, it's not even a big deal.
That's wonderful.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
That's wonderful.
And it's a battle, bro.
It
like
is.
I'm kind of in the same battle, except I don't have anybody fight me on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a process. It's still going to be a process. And, I hope their mom gets right, but the likelihood of that happening is not in her favor. Right. You know, and I'm going to be the one to have to do it. And it's scary. Oh. I mean, the unknown is always scary. It's going to be difficult. You know, I have people that I know that have already done this. So, that's the beauty of the program. It's like there's nothing that we're going to go through that somebody hasn't already walked through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Adam raises kids on his own. So I know it can be done.
It's possible.
I know it's not easy because he tells me all about it. But
the war stories.
Yeah. Sometimes it is war, bro.
It is.
Yeah.
At least once a month.
We're not there yet with mine, but it's coming, dude. Those uncomfortable conversations are coming. But that's what we got clean for the tough days. Not just the good times.
And be able to deal with them.
Yeah.
Cool, calm, and collected, and not fly off the handle.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we will.
Yeah.
If you're not cool, calm, and collective, that guilt will force you to be cool, calm, and collective. But like one thing you said, like uncomfortable conversations, like I had to sit down with my daughters and talk to them about sex.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And now I remember a therapist. She wasn't my therapist. She's a woman that I worked with. And she was like, I was like, what do I do? And she's like, well, you have to sit down and talk to them. And I was like, my stomach started turning. I started sweating. I was like, what do you mean can't you talk to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they're like, Adam, like, they're your kids. As uncomfortable as it is, like, you don't have a choice. Like, who else is going to be able to speak to them in a manner that you're going to be able to because you're their father? And I sat down and I talked to them. I showed them some pictures of, some shit that they could catch and all that stuff. And I mean, this was like 2 years ago. So they were, 12 and 13. My son's about to, my son's 11 right now. And I'm already like, fuck, I got to sit down and talk with this fool and have the sex talk with them. You know what I'm saying? But it's uncomfortable. And like I know Mike deals with this too, right? Like, having to clean up other people's wreckage, right? Like my kids, I mean, they still miss their mom. You know what I'm saying? They still, I mean, the last 10 years since I've been a single father, like the visits get less and less. The phone call, I mean, at this point, the visits and the phone calls are non-existent. You know what I'm saying? But like that whole transition of her like seeing them less and less, calling them less and less, right? It was detrimental to my kids, bro. A lot of people are like, I think we all, not all, but most of us have like this false perception. Like, well, I'm only harming myself, but like we're harming everybody around us, bro. And my kids are a product, right, of the disease of addiction still causing harm to them without even the disease of addiction inside the house, bro. And having to console my kids and be loving and caring. I always, like, I had this one dude, he would talk about like his baby's mom, this bitch and that bitch. Said, well, that's the mother of your children. I don't even like the word baby mama, bro. Like that's the mother of your children, bro. If the only thing the mother of my children gives me is my kids, no financial support, no emotional support, no spiritual, if she doesn't, like, just her giving me my children is the greatest gift that anybody could give me. So why would I talk down to a woman by calling her a bitch or even degrading her by just calling her a baby's mom when really, bro, like, she gave me the greatest gifts in the world? And yeah, it fucking sucks, bro, having to raise children on my own, but it's also kind of fucking dope that God thinks that I'm tough enough to do that, right? And same for you, Mike, right?
Yeah.
It's dope that like God thinks that you're man enough, right? And that you're equipped enough to be able to raise these girls on your own, bro. Like that is like anything that, like, for me, right? Like anything that like comes into my life that's challenging, like, I'm not always grateful. I'm not always happy about certain things, but like at the end of the day, bro, like I could look back at him and be like, you know what? Like God has gifted me with this gift, bro. Like when before nobody gave a shit, including God, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's an honor and a privilege, like, for me to look at myself and be like I'm grateful to be who I am today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful to be who I am today because, like most addicts, I was never comfortable in my own skin and I was never happy with who I am. Yeah. No matter how good or how bad I did, I just hated myself. And to be able to, like, this guy shared yesterday at a meeting, he says, somewhere along the line, I started to believe what people were saying. Yeah. And they were talking about what people were saying about him. And like right before that, somebody shared, because it was my clean date, right? And so they shared about how I impacted them. And it's like, I believed it. Like, I remember thinking to myself, like, how cool is it to hear this from this man and believe what he's saying, because I suffer from imposter syndrome. Yeah. Right? I
don't believe anything I hear. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an NF song, right? It says, people say that I'm a good man, but I don't believe it, so I feel like a liar, right? And so that's how I feel. I feel like when people say things, I'm like, well, that's your perception of me because you only know this part of me. You don't know the whole Adam, right? Yeah. But like last night, and I'm sure it's happened before, but last night I remember thinking, like, that's me. That is me. That is who I am. Everything that he said that was nice about me, that is me. And then right after, this guy was like, you know what I'm saying? He had a little bit more time than me. And he said, somewhere along the line, I started believing you guys about me. And I was like, fuck, how powerful is that, bro, to have those moments. And I was sunburned. I was tired. I didn't want to be at that meeting at all, at all, dude.
I'm surprised you went to him.
Yeah, well, because someone wanted to give me a cake, bro, so I had to. Yeah. But, like, and I also believe, bro, like, I'm with my little spill, but I also believe that, like, God's not going to give me anything until I'm ready, bro, right? Like you, for example, bro, right? You got 4 years clean. How long you been married?
April will be...
Don't fuck this
2
up.
years.
Dude.
Okay, so 2 years. So in 2 years of being clean, right?
No. April will be 1 year.
Okay.
We got
So
married
3
in
years.
24.
3 years of being clean, right? And God gifted you a wife, right? A partner for the rest of your life, right? Bro, it took 11 years, right? Almost 12.
Yeah.
Just to finally find somebody, but it's not that I found somebody that was amazing, because my last few women that I was with were amazing. We just weren't. There's something that wasn't right there, right? A lot of my problem is not being a man that's ready to cherish, respect, love, and care for a woman, right? Like, I had to become the man that God felt I needed to become in order for me to take on a responsibility of basically a whole nother life. And I'm not saying she's my child and I have to be responsible, but still there's a lot of accountability, a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of communication, which,
Oh, yeah.
bro, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got to communicate. Like, for me, I got to communicate with my work and my sponsors. That's it. And my kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like, communicating with the opposite sex in that intimate way can be difficult for me, because I want you to love me. I want you to like me. I want you to stay with me. And Mike's like kind of seen this whole transformation where I went from like doing everything I can to make people stay with me. And now I'm just like, I'm just going to be me. If you're cool with that, then we can make this work. And if not, then you're more than welcome to leave. Right. And then like, I just got engaged, bro. So now like, and a very short time, I'm going to be married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, but like, I literally feel like this woman was sent by God. I literally feel like it was a divine intervention, the way everything happened. It was supposed to happen. And so like, but it took 12 years of in and out of relationships. It took a lot of unhealthy relationships. It took a lot of healthy relationships to teach me how unhealthy I really am, dude. Right? Because the abusive speech, the cheating, like that's all right there in my face. I know that is unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
But there's other things that aren't easily visible, right? Like codependency, like passiveness, like stuff like that, that I figured out in my healthy relationships, right? We had healthy. For me, healthy was, you don't put hands on me, I don't put hands on you. You don't cheat on me, I don't cheat on you. And that's as healthy as it got, bro.
Yeah.
Right? But there's more to healthiness in a relationship, right? Being able to have a disagreement without screaming and yelling, right?
Yeah.
But being able to advocate for myself, because I was such an asshole for so long that I swung all the way to the other side of that pendulum, and I just became this fucking poo butt who never stuck up for himself, never fucking spoke up, right? Because
Whatever you want, baby.
I don't. Yeah, nobody wants a yes man, bro. Let's
Yeah.
just be real, bro. You know. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak my personal opinions too strongly on this, but like for me, like there has to be a happy medium, right?
Yeah.
Where like, yes, I love you and I care for you and I'm gonna be there for you as much as I possibly can, but that's as far as it goes. As much as I possibly can, I will overextend myself and put my livelihood at risk and put my pockets empty just to be able to make sure that you're good, and that's an unhealthy way of living, bro. I'm an adult. You're an adult, right? If you can help me out, she helps me out every minute she fucking has, every minute that she could, right? But anything above, anything that she has, like, I don't even expect that from her, right? And it's the same vice versa, bro. Like, I'll give you everything I can, but anything past that, like, I can't, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and neglect my responsibilities, my life, right? Mike talks about this too, right? He'll dive into a relationship and forget that he has kids. He hasn't done that in recovery, but he's done that in addiction,
Yeah.
right? And I could do that. I've done it in
did it.
recovery, bro.
I did it.
Yeah, and so for me, I have to make sure that I am fully equipped for everything that happens, right? So like I could go through trials, I could go through struggles. Like I was talking to someone today, bro, there's like levels of life, and in the level of life that we're in right now, we have to gain all the knowledge, all the wisdom that we can, because this level in life is preparing us for the next level, right? And when we get to that level, we might want 3 levels from now, but we can't get there without learning everything that we're in right now, bro,
Yeah.
right? Money, right? Business, like all that stuff. It doesn't, like, business doesn't start when you buy a business and you own a business or start a business, right? It starts way before that. All the preparation of shitty jobs, all the preparations of being a good employee, all the preparations of hard work and education, right? All that preparation leads to the next phase in your life. And it's the same thing for me in every aspect of my life, right? Well, the phase that Mike is in right now with his daughter, he visits his daughter almost every freaking day, right?
Yeah.
And that is a phase of his life where it's preparation for when he gets his kids back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And once he gets his kids back, he's able to maintain his place. He's able to maintain cars. He's able to maintain the bills. Then that's another preparation for a house, for a better car, for this, that. But like, yeah, I know like everybody has a different journey. You know what I'm saying? You got married early. You know what I'm saying? What I would consider early, and I'm getting married late, bro. But I needed to go through what I needed to go through in order to become the man that I am.
I think
so
you're
that
getting
I'm
married
prepared.
right on time.
I think so too.
Yeah. I don't think you're
so, too.
late.
But what you're talking about, like God's will,
Yeah.
right? And my will. If it was my will, I would have been married fucking 10 years ago,
Yeah.
right? But
If it's
then
my will, I'll never get married.
it's gonna happen, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I learned, like you said, we got to learn all that stuff, right? So I learned about all the negative fucking relationships, all the unhealthy relationships, and all the things not to do in a relationship, right? And that prepared me for where we are now. And fucking life is good, man. You know, the wife answers the phone when I call.
Right.
You know, and you know everything's good. Like she doesn't fucking say, "Can you get the fuck out of here?" You know, when are you coming home? She tells me, "When are you coming home?" You're over there. I'm over there with her brother doing something, right? It's like, man, honey, you coming home? You know, I made dinner, and oh yeah, I'm on my way home. You know, and but it's nice.
Yeah.
You know, because remember before it'd be like, oh, get the fuck out of here, don't come back. You know,
Yeah.
and life is fucking good today, bro. Life is really good today.
So, Chad, we're going to wrap it up, but I got one question for you. If you could give one piece of advice to somebody out there struggling right now, trying to find their way to recovery, what would that be?
Man. It's not too late. It's not too late. You were worthy of recovery, right? Like, no matter how far deep down the rabbit hole you think you are, you're just one day away from being clean. And give it a try. You know, like we joke in here, like we'll refund your misery. Give us a year and we'll refund your misery. And I don't know. I haven't found anybody that wants to refund.
Yeah.
You know, so give it a try. You're never too far gone. You're just one day away from being clean.
Oh, yeah, Chad. Thank you for coming on,
Thank
bro.
you, Chad.
Thank you guys for
We
having me.
really appreciate you having us. Please, everybody who's listening, make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share Chad's story with anybody who you feel needs to hear. You can listen to our podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Also, make sure to follow us on IG, which is the Message is Hope podcast _ between each word. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
But you'll never know unless you walked up in my shoes.
As someone who struggled with addiction in the past, how does it feel to be able to give hope to others who are still struggling now?
You know, it's such an honor to be able to hear other people's experiences of life, to see how when faced with the very thing that was sent to destroy you, kill you, and take you out forever didn't, but rather you have been given a second chance to give hope and be a light for those who are still in the dark. So don't be afraid to share your message to the world. You never know whose life you might be saving.